Welcome to the Glaze Lab, an introduction. Start by grabbing yourself a handy dandy hall pass, head on over to Studio D. This is Studio D, head on over to the back, you will find our Glaze Lab. When you walk over here, you want to first turn on the ventilation. This is really required because of the dust. Also make sure the lights are on, which they're on right now. When you get here, you might find that the door is locked. See Mr. Brennan, he'll let you in. As you walk in, you may run into some students from an unnamed class where they tend to be kind of a mess, so please make sure they are staying out of the Glaze Lab area. This should always be nice and clean. Let's just take a quick look around. First of all, we have our sink, cleanup area. This should end up looking like this whenever you leave, minus the spray paint. This is our drying rack. Normally this will be empty. So back to the lab area. Across the top on this shelf, you'll find our colorants and oxides. These are going to be the last ingredients you add to your recipe. On the counter and below, you will find all the rest of the ingredients for your glaze base. They're generally going to be in alphabetical order from left to right. These containers on the counter are what we have in these larger bins, but they're just here for your convenience, so use these instead. If you run out of something, just let me know and I'll refill it for you. Please don't get down these 50-pound containers. So across the bottom, you'll see more ingredients in these brown bags. Again, they're alphabetical order from left to right, all the way across. The black and red bins on the bottom, well, don't worry about those. That's what these are, same ingredients. So you're ready to mix your first batch of glaze? Well, start over here. You will find the scales. Go ahead and get one out for yourself. You're going to need a cup like this. You're going to measure your ingredients into this cup so that you don't contaminate your glaze if you measure wrong. Let's take a look at how to operate the scales. First of all, open the lid. Then you're going to take a look here, turn it on, wait for this to load. Now, you are looking for grams. Right now, focus, 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 focus. There we go. You're going to go ahead and press mode until you see the little G for grams. Just keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing. There it is. Next button you need to know is tare, T-A-R-E. This is going to zero out the scale because you're not measuring containers, you're measuring the stuff in the container. So when you put a clean container on there, you're going to go ahead and hit tare, just press and hold to zero it out. Next up, respirator. This is really important. We have to treat all of the clay ingredients as if they're hazardous, because many of them are. You do not want to breathe this stuff in. So you're going to open up this drawer. You will find respirators inside. Grab one for yourself. Please don't share them. And stick it on your face. Hey look, toxic stuff. So guys, one other thing. Don't eat or drink anything in here ever. Even if you're really, really hungry. Just don't do it. Ever. Never ever. Also no food or drinks, cause toxic. Next up, bring your computer in here and you want to load your glaze recipe. I'm doing Miller Clear number 12, which looks like that. Notice my recipe has no added colorants. That's because it's clear. My recipe calls for Gersley borate, which is right here. This calls for silica, which is right here. Nepheline cyanite. Sometimes people call it Nefci, and OM4 ball clay. So get those ingredients so they are close to you, ready to measure out. Please only open one of these at a time. We don't want to risk mixing them up. And take a look. There's usually going to be a scoop or spoon in there. That's great for scooping. If not, grab one of these little white cups or spoons, and you can just leave it in the container for the next person to use. Next thing you need is your own container to make your glaze inside of. Before you start, always label first. You will find some labeling junk in this drawer that is not labeled, because irony. Anyway, there's some tape and markers. There we go. Once again, do not weigh into your cup. You're going to weigh in the separate container and then pour it into here. Make sure your dust mask is on. When you look at your recipe, remember we're looking at the 200 gram column only. Don't mix these numbers up. You have to be really precise. I'm going to start with the Gersley borate. I need 75 grams. So you can see I have 0 grams on here. You're going to just start sprinkling this in Watch the numbers carefully. What's interesting is some of the ingredients are a lot heavier than others. You want to weigh exactly to the 10th place here. Be precise. I went a little bit over, so if that happens, use your same scoop, never cross-contaminate, and start removing material until you get the exact number you're looking for. I need 75.0 grams. It's really important to be precise. Next up, carefully pour your ingredient into your glaze container. Give it a little tappy tap tap. Make sure you get all the stuff in there. Get this back on your scale and make sure it is reading 0 grams. As you finish, put the lid on and put it away. That way you do not run the risk of using the same ingredient twice. And again, put it where you got it, alphabetical order. If you spill some stuff on the scale, you're going to have to pour this back in the container and re-measure because these ingredients are going to throw off your weight. Now, most of you guys will be using at least some of these colorants, and just keep in mind they're really expensive and we don't have a lot, so you need to be really precise. The important thing too is never cross-contaminate. Don't put a dirty spoon from one back into another. Any contamination could ruin the entire batch. Okay, after you've added all your ingredients, you just want to double check your recipe and make sure, did you do it right? This is critical. Any mistakes here will throw off our results later. When you're done, get the lid on there, nice and tight, and you can start to tumble this when you bring it back to the classroom. We always mix the dry first, and then we'll add the water later. Next up, clean up. That means wipe things down, put everything away. Hey look, sponges and paper towels. Use these. Please use a paper towel to dry the counters when you're done. Hooray for putting things back. Wash this container you've been using and put it on the drying rack. The next person should use a clean and dry one. If you use anything that's wet, well, your dry ingredients are going to stick, and that's a real problem. One more thing, when you're done, wash your hands with soap. You're just touching toxic ingredients. Wash your hands. Hey look, it's clean. Take this back to the classroom.